welcome to my channel. It's good to have you here. My name is Gemma, criminologist, bad schoolist, mother, right? So, okay, when I study criminology, what things did what things did I read about? So, I've studied criminology, so it's not going to be the same thing as what solicitors might say. It might be the same thing as what another person, a psychologist, might say. It might be something different, right? But I'm a criminologist, so I'm going to tell you about it from my perspective and my opinion, right? So this is how they treat people. This is how I'm going to go into. I'm going to go into children that have been in care, what they do as a government position, like social workers, red flags. Usually what they do is, if they want to sway an age and gauge a narrative, they're going to use whatever they can. Okay, so the first thing they do is they remove children so they can gain against you. So usually children are removed due to physical harm, emotional harm, or things like this, where it's a danger. Okay, whereas this is a far right, where it's right, we need to get these kids out, it's go in, get kids and take them to safe places. But usually this isn't how it's done. Usually it's done because they want to take the children because they have a coercive content meaning, and usually who they target is women who have been domestically abused. Okay, so the targets are usually women who've been domestically abused, women who are vulnerable, disabled people. Okay, this is usually who they target. Okay, as mothers. They can target the disabled children as well, and this might be a use for them in court. Okay, they also actually can use your own childhood against you, even though you're strong, independent, and all sorts of stuff. They'll still lie. Right, so the children in care, this is the main thing, right? So when the children are in care, usually what they do is they'll take a couple of months, they'll have to compile. Okay, so what they do is they pull the parent and the main caregiver basically away from the children, and then what they'll do is they'll do repetitive hits on the kids, and I'm talking about psychological manipulation. I don't know about physical, that's potential as well, that happens in there. What we've got to realise is that when children are in care, they're not loved. So this is how they get them, right? They make them feel like nobody loves them. They make them feel like they're uncared for children. They make them feel like nobody loves them. This actually happens, okay? This is real, okay? It happens. And because it's been red tape, you don't see it, okay? Because it's been red tape, you don't see it, okay? The public, okay? So you might look at me and go, oh, she's talking crap. Oh, she wants to string along with it. No, it's a far right movement, everything's happening, okay? We all go together with it, right? And it can have many connotations to it, immigration, whatever, but it's about children. Mine is about children in care and being far right, right? Because it's a far right movement. But it's always been happening. So this is the reality. It's always been happening. There's a far right movement. People are taking the actual mick about all these kids, right? So what they do is that they never backtrack. Okay, so if a court or social worker, they never backtrack. Hardly any never backtrack, and the reason why is because they don't want the children they don't want to be in trouble for what they've done. Okay, so originally they might make the wrong decision. They'll carry it on all the way to the end just because they don't want to make it look like they're the ones that are in the wrong. This is court. But then let's get back to the children in care. This is really good. So when I just watch, I'm just reading. I'm just an observer. I see it though. All those children, they don't. I can feel it. I can't just see it. I can feel it. Okay? So I'm a spiritual woman. So I want to take care of children, protect them, keep them safe, right? Because I know what it's like, right? Because I was abused when I was a child. It shouldn't be used against me either. Right, go show if you have a primal instinct, right? So if anyone tries to use this against you remember all you kids that have been put in care and all that and you leave, you have a primal instinct, okay, to know trauma, to know abuse, and usually we can become targeted because of it. Okay, so I took out 2 abusers in my childhood, and You know, it weren't nice, but in the end I got there, right? So have faith, okay, in anybody who has ever been abused and they're just ignoring it, okay? Just have faith, okay? Right, so you get some people who don't really care about kids. They really don't. They're in the wrong jobs, wrong positions to be in them positions in the first place and not care about kids. Just goes to show the reason why this place is so corrupt. Okay, and there's lots of corruption going on in these areas, and it's because there's so many people that are involved in these positions of work who don't care about the positions of work. Okay, and or the bosses not caring about it, right? So it really depends on like how you want to see this, but ultimately, you know, let's get back to the kids in care. So these kids shouldn't even be in care, some of them. And what they do is they use them as manipulative tactics. And they get the dads and the mums to fight each other, try and get them back out of care. And this is also another way. And what they do is they favour the vulnerable. They go against the vulnerable because there's more profit in it. Okay, so the reason why I think that they do this is because they can get the mum into a mental institution or the dad in a mental institution. So that's money in it. That's finance. That's government money on their heads. And then what they do is they can put the kids in care. That's money on their heads. Because they're trying to find a stimulation of an economy. Okay, and they're trying to do it through like people. Okay, so what do they need? They need people to go into these sectors for help, even if they don't need it. But they also use it as a court ruling to try and override you as a court official, right? So they do it on purpose to override you, okay? And there's a reason, and it's because it's because they want to keep their jobs, right? They don't care about these kids, a lot of them, because they're not in that position to care about them. They just want it to go a specific way. Okay, so this is what happens when people have been abused and stuff. They can also use, like, you can become a target individual just by going to like domestic women's aid. Right? You can become a target just by using them services. I'm just gonna be honest. I've seen that. And I've also like in papers and stuff like this in my research, right? And it's almost like it's like a hub for vulnerability. It's like they smell it out. I don't know. It's getting weird. Do you know the dark side of public sectors? So, as well, I've noticed as well is that they also, with children that have been put in care, like they might be put through trauma. Okay, they're gonna be put through trauma because they're trying to stop them from having their own say. So they silence the children. Okay, by saying anything like, I don't know, we'll kill your mum or we'll kill your dad if you say this or that. You know, there has been stuff like this. I've read stuff, right, where in care homes, stuff like this, they say that to the kids, they beat them up. You know, they stamp on their heads, punch them in the face, stuff like this. I've read stuff like this where this has taken place. Okay, some people get sacked and some people don't, right? And it's because it's either a manipulation tactic that's a strategized position, or it's actually just corrupt and they shouldn't have done it in the first place and someone needs to pick it up. But if not, and nobody picks it up, then just know that this is how the system works and they're okay with children being abused in social looked after children, right? So I have seen this where one case he had been abused and his mum tried to say that he had been abused, and they in return they stopped contact with the mum and the child because he was exposing child abuse, okay, within the system. And when this happens, what they do is they restrict contact with that parent because they're still trusting to that child. Okay, so the child still trusts that particular position, that particular caregiver. He still trusted her. Okay, so he was still talking about stuff like saying what's happened to him and that. So she was his confidant, right? So usually they don't like this, okay, especially if it's not in your favour. If you're the primary caregiver and they're not agreeing with you, usually what they'll do is they'll lie about you to take the children, make the children lie about you, and then they'll give the children to the person whoever they agree with. And this actually happened with somebody I know, and they actually said to me that they tried to stop contact because disclosure was taking place with the child and the mom, and then they tried to stop it completely. Okay, so this is the reasons as well why putting children in care on exaggerated claims. Okay, because there's been a lot of children going in care. Okay, so it's based on exaggerated claims because it doesn't rise for no reason. Okay, it doesn't rise just because public sectors aren't there either. Okay, so let's squash that one. Usually the reason why this takes place is because it's not because there isn't much support, even though I do claim that and do protest there needs to be public support. Usually the reason why this takes place is because it's been a policy that's been set in place to conduct it like this. And that's the reality, okay? And I think I'm going to be like for saying this. Well, at least I'm not a solicitor. God, I'd hate my job if I was one of them. So, in these situations, got to be careful. I also noted that what they do is they like to pull the children away from the parents. They give them a long time away from them, make them children feel like they haven't got a parent to trust in and stuff like this. And then they lie about what the children are saying about people as well. So they lie. Okay, so the social services might go against that child itself and lie, or if it's trying to disclose child abuse, they might go against it because the reality is that they're obviously wrong and they're going to get in trouble for it. And the fact that they're still going ahead with it just kind of makes them look stupid at this staged. Thing is as well, a lot of these kids, they might not even really remember what's going on in their lives, because like when you're a kid you don't remember half of it. So I think this is another thing as well, especially when it comes to like things like spiritual abuse and stuff like this. So spiritual abuse can take place. When like forms of spiritual abuse can take place. I've spoken about it already in my reports, but this is also another indicator. Okay, you might not remember anything about your childhood. Why? Because you might not remember. What happens is that you'll get kids that are coming out of care. Oh, mum was bad, dad was bad. Why? Who told you that? Can you remember your childhood? No. Oh, so where are you getting this information from? A social service worker who said that's why you're not with your mum anymore. It's a lie. Right? They try and make the children forget their childhood memories as well. Right? So all their memories, they try and make them forget. Right? And it's because they want it to go their way, because they're abusers themselves. Okay? But you have to be trained to be an abuser, right? Get this. You have to be trained, right? They train you, okay? So, I don't know, soliciting communities are quite sparse with manipulation tactics and stuff like this. I'd say that's one of the primary reasons why this whole court case and stuff like that is all corrupt. It's because of them, right? It's because they're not adhering to human rights, okay? So, everything I'm talking about goes against human rights, okay? So, this is also another way how they can deploy you into being whatever you want to them, to redirect it into a court case so then they can say whatever they want. And this is another reason why red tape isn't good for the children, right? So this is it. Red tape is not good for the children. Why? Because you're hiding child abuse within government sectors. It's pretty simple, and it needs to change. You need to stop this, okay? Because you're hiding child abuse just because they're government factors doesn't change that they shouldn't be doing what they're doing in the first place. They shouldn't be abusing children under systematic care proceedings. So basically, when you have children and they go through court case proceedings, what you'll find is a lot of it's hidden, silenced. okay? So the same community right now, they're obviously not all of them. They're still digging at taking kids in care. Some of them, though, they're all right. They're going against what's been going on with these kids for years. Now, just because it's in a different area don't mean that it's all changed. Because I'm saying now, if you still red tape something, right? When did it get red taped? I think 70 years ago I was reading stuff. 1970s I was reading stuff. And it don't come out. So you have to wait. So you got to think, how behind are we when we look at our children? How behind are we? Because it should be exposed. Because it doesn't protect the children hiding it. It protects the government. It protects the social workers, the government, the soliciting communities, and God knows who else is involved in this, okay? Child traffickers possibly, and underrange of legal child trafficking, because things like this can take place and it does flood through. Like the kids in France, for example, they was in France. What they're doing in France? In a UK detention unit. Right? So there are things that are going on that are illegitimate, but illegitimate. Right? So there's two sides. But this one is really, I want to talk about kids in care, because a lot of these kids are left. And it's not because, sometimes it's not because of it's the mum's or dad's fault. It's because the government stopped the children from having that, right? The children are forced to not have that and put through care, looked after children. And I don't know if it's because it forms a revenue, I don't know, but it's disgusting. This is a far right, okay? And this is why it's hidden. This is why it's red taped, because it's far right, okay? And usually when it's a far right, they'll hide it. So, for example, they might take your children at night time. They might not take your children in the daytime. They'll take them at night times. This is another one.